Hello everybody, and welcome back to my home here in East Tennessee. It's going to be kind of a cloudy, rainy week, and I thought this is going to be the perfect time to do some repotting, especially on my Vanda. When I do repotting on weeks that it's rainy and cloudy, it's a little bit easier to keep the plant hydrated than when I choose a week that is hot and sunny. So I'm going to be repotting my Vanda that I got from the Orchid supply store, and this is what her name is. And I got this one back in October. So I took it out of the basket that it came in, and I placed it in Rexius medium fir bark along with spag moss. I layered it this time. And as you see, it's grown really well. I've got some roots here that need to go down into some medium instead of being, like outside the pot. So I've gone ahead and I've fixed a 6-inch pot. This is one that came from the Orchid supply store, who is my sponsor. And I just took a soldering iron and I placed some more holes in the sides of this pot. As you see, this is a slotted pot. This is a 4-inch slotted pot. So this one it's really used to extra ventilation. So I thought, well, I'll go ahead and place some holes in the sides of this pot, kind of like I do with some of the pots that I place holes in the bottom to convert to orchid pots. So this is what I've got, and I'm going to be adding something to the Rexius fir bark. I'm going to be placing some large Orchid bark. Let me show you what that looks like. And this is the large size Orchid bark. I was thinking about medium, but the medium Rexius fir bark is a little bit larger than the medium Orchid. So this is what I'm going to go with, along with placing a little bit more moss in the pot. I've got 4 layers of bark and moss. What I've done is the top of it is bark, then moss, then, okay, let's see. I've put 5 layers, pardon me. Bark, moss, and then the bottom of it is bark. Someone asked me, okay, what's the difference between having the bottom with bark and the bottom of the pot with moss? If you tend to overwater, probably putting moss on the bottom is not a good idea. And guess what? I tend to overwater. So I plan on going ahead and putting the bark in the bottom of this again. This has really worked for this orchid. So here we go. Let's get into a repot. And everything you see me using here in this repot today comes from the Orchid supply store, who sponsors my channel. I'm going to be using the large bark like I have here. I'm also going to be using spag moss, and you saw the 6-inch pot that I'm about to repot this Vanda in. And when you place your order, make sure you use my coupon code Amy for a 12% viewers discount. And also, if you're in the United States, you get free shipping. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what we've got. I want to see what these roots look like, and I'm going to be very, very careful with this root right here. I don't want to lose any. I'm going to be saving all of the bark and the moss in this pot because it's only, what, 6 months old, which 6-month-old Rexius fir bark and 6-month-old spag moss, that is not old. So I'm just going to see what I've got. Oh yes, oh yes. Wow. Okay. All the roots are good. I've got one little tiny squishy offshoot root right here, but it all looks good. This is a very young Vanda. It's probably, a year or 2 away from blooming. And I told Ken at the Orchid supply store where this came from. I would prefer it that way because I want to have my Vandas in medium. So, okay. So I've got a squishy root here and a squishy root here. That's really not a problem. But I want to get these squishy roots out of this pot too. So I'm going to be very, very careful. But I'm surprised, I'm really pleased with the root growth just in that amount of time. I've got new root tips here, root tips here. But I'm glad that I checked on this when I did, because I don't want these soggy roots in this medium, and I'm going to get that out of there. But the medium smells good. If you ever take your orchid out of medium, no matter what kind of medium you're using, and it smells bad, then guess what? Then you need to get new medium, all new medium, or mostly new medium, I guess I should say. I'm going to get this into a larger pot, and I'm going to try to put some of these roots down in the medium a little bit more. And yeah, okay, so I'm going to save that slotted pot. These 4-inch slotted pots, I like those. Okay, so what am I going to put in the bottom? Definitely bark. But I have kind of got a mixture here of things. Okay. Okay, let's just start with the bark layer on the bottom. Oh yeah, that's nice and chunky. I'm not believing that this bark, some of it, I don't know. I'm actually thinking I'm going to reuse the moss, and I'm probably going to save the Rexius bark to like put it around one of my potted plants, because one of my potted plants actually needs a top bark layer. I think I would rather use all Orchid bark and spag moss in this pot. That's going to last me a long time, and then I'm going to be able to see my layers a little bit better. So I'm just going to lay this little guy right down in here. Let me see, I do believe I have, I think I've got enough of the large Orchid bark right here. And I actually remembered my scoop this time. I can't believe it. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I've got plenty. Yes, that's going to, see, that root's going to go down in there nicely. And I'm going to be able to, hopefully, train that down. That's what I'm trying to do. That's the whole idea behind this repot, is to train this root down into, yeah. Okay, so that's going to work. I think this one more scoop is going to do it. Okay, and I thought I would also go over some questions that I've had from you all about how to water this, what we call moss sandwich. Isn't that kind of cool looking? It is. It's kind of really pretty, actually. Okay, what I do is I just pour the water through, and I don't let it sit. I don't soak this. If you soak this, then it's going to just be a mess. The moss is going to compact, and you're going to have a mess in this pot, and you're going to be repotting it, and you're going to have squishy roots. So what I do is I run the water straight through the pot. Now, the good thing is if it's a hot day, let's say you're having just some hot weather, and you want to soak just the bottom part that does not have the moss, okay? No moss. You can soak the bottom part of this pot, but just make sure that your moss layer, see, I've got some moss pretty far down into that pot. How did I do that? Everything's moved on me in this repot. So I'm going to make sure that I don't soak it, But if your layers are nice and clean, and like let's say it looks like this right here, all the way across, you can soak this bottom part for a little while, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. But just make sure that you know that if you keep your moss too soppy, it will break down. It will come soppy like a sponge. It won't dry out, and you're going to have a problem. So my advice is just run the water through the pot, and if you have to water a little bit more often, that's okay, but I would not leave this sitting in water. You're going to have problems, and your roots are going to rot, and your moss is just going to compact down. It's going to be a mess. See, sometimes, like last summer, we had a summer where it was just wet the whole summer long. We had rain, it seems to me like almost every day, and not complaining about that. I mean, you know, when you get rain, you get rain. But the thing is with your orchids, if you have dry weather, you're going to be watering your orchids a lot more often. Your moss is going to dry out more often. Your medium is going to dry much quicker. If you've got a lot of wet, rainy weather, then this is going to extract the moisture from the air. No kidding, it's going to extract the moisture from the air, and your moss layer, you're going to notice, is going to be damp, and it's not going to dry out as much. So this is kind of how to get by without watering your Vandas every day, or maybe every other day. Depends on your weather, how long it's going to be before you go between waterings on this. But I would say that in the summer, I'm going to have to wait and see what the weather is going to be like, because like I said, I can guarantee you, if we get a lot of rain, I'm not going to be watering this all that often. If it's dry, we used to have some dry summers here 5 and 6 years ago where we barely had rain. It's a completely different story. So you have to water according to your environment, but what I would suggest is that you don't soak this bottom layer at all. You can also not see all the way through. You might have like some bark on the outside, but on the other side of this there might be some moss. And see, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to be soaking that moss too much, and it's going to be a problem. So I think that's it for this repotting video. I hope that you all have enjoyed coming along with me. This has been different than what I thought it was going to be. It seems like all of my repottings are a little bit different than what I think they're going to be. It's what makes them fun. And I enjoy the fact that you all come along with me, because you get to see a lot of different scenarios. I've been repotting videos. No, I've not been repotting videos. I've been doing repotting videos for a long time, and I can tell you for certain, all of them are just different. And so this is the finished product, and actually I'm going to go ahead and do a 3-week update on this plant. I actually repotted this 3 weeks ago, and wanted to show you I did it in Orchid bark and New Zealand sphagnum moss layers, and wow, it's done really well. I'm surprised at the way that I water this. I wait until it becomes very light in weight, very lightweight. I keep trying to train that root in there. It doesn't want to go though. Sometimes Vanda roots are stubborn. So I've only had to water this about twice a week. And right now it's pretty rainy here. You know, we go through these rainy seasons in May. And so I'm even able to go a little bit longer than that. So this is really a good way to grow your Vandas when you don't want to have to deal with them every single day. It is hard for me to deal with an orchid every single day. Even every second or third day, I can kind of do that. But every day, that is kind of, that's high maintenance for me. As you see, the new leaf has continued to grow since I did the initial video, the repotting video. That was 3 weeks ago. I kind of wanted to wait to see how this was going to do. so that I could tell you all before I even released the video. So here it is. She's growing very well. I'm really impressed, and I'm very glad that I'm only having to water it, I'd say every 3 or 4 days, and that's on the hot, sunny days. And I can go 5 or 6 days when it's rainy, because the humidity is for real here when it rains. So this is a really good way to grow your Vandas. I wish that I had found something like this a long time ago. What I did right here was I started with a young plant. As a matter of fact, when I ordered this from Ken from the Orchid Supply Store, he told me this is a very young plant. It's going to take a year or 2 for it to bloom. And I was like, that's perfect, because I want to start out a young plant in this type of growing method. Because if you take a huge Vanda and try to all of a sudden change from it being in more of a water culture type of environment, you know, you spray the roots down every single day, and then you try to put those roots in this type of medium, you're going to have a mess. You're going to lose all of the established roots, and you're going to have to wait for all of the new roots to establish before that Vanda will even take off again. So starting with a smaller, more immature plant, and as you see, since I've had it, it has grown. Also, I kind of did the moss and bark sandwich to begin with, because it was quite small and it worked. But now that I'm in a larger pot, more layers of the moss is really going to help to keep this hydrated. And I put the bark on the bottom of mine. Several of you have asked me, why do you do that? Well, the answer is simple. I tend to overwater. So moss in the bottom of a pot with me, ooh, that's kind of a little bit dangerous. With my cattleyas and with my tolumnias, I do that, but I only allow myself to water them once a week. Like, I just have to stay away from them with my watering pot on watering day. I'm like, no, you cannot water that but once a week, or you're going to have rotten roots. So with this, I know I have to water it more than, just once a week. But in the wintertime, I'm going to be really curious to see how long I can go. We'll just see. I will keep you all posted as to how often I water, because this has kind of been, Vandas can be challenging, let's just say. Yes, let's use that word. They can be challenging as far as keeping them watered. And with water culture, the way I did do it, it was just too heavy toting the water back and forth. I know some of you all still do that and you're okay with it, and that's great. But I've got to simplify the way that I have my setup. So this was the most simple thing I could come up with. I also need to let you all know, and this is the sad part of the video, and but you all kind of need to know. A few weeks ago, little buddy went to heaven, and it's kind of hard for me to talk about it, to be honest with you, because he was just such a part of my life. I've considered doing a video in memorial to him, maybe when I can look at all the pictures and videos I have of him, which there are so many. You think that I take a lot of pictures of orchids. Oh, I had that many pictures of just little buddy, because he was always with me, the cutest little thing, the perkiest little thing. It was not something, let's see, how do I put this? This came on suddenly. He was turning 13 in a couple of days. And it was just something that happened very, very suddenly. Nobody could believe it. The vets could not believe it. Nobody could believe it, because he went from chasing the birds around the yard the week before he passed away to just, what happened was he had a tumor around his liver, and when it started growing, that was just it. And nobody even knew he had the tumor. So it's just been really difficult for me. I'm trying to get my schedule back on track, but that's kind of, It's proven to be a little bit challenging, but I'm trying to get back into my videos. And I've also made arrangements. We're going to be getting a new puppy here in about 4 or 5 weeks. It's hard to say goodbye. I've not been this long without a miniature schnauzer for 26 years. I had to wait about 4 or 5 weeks, kind of like I'm having to do right now with my previous schnauzer, who happened to be little buddy's aunt. And I remember I didn't take that very well. It was really, really hard on me. My family has had schnauzers for 50 years. We are just huge miniature schnauzer enthusiasts, and I know that you all have just enjoyed watching little buddy in my videos throughout the years. He just always kind of showed up. You know, it was really kind of funny. It's like, well, you know, I don't want the camera on me when I don't want it on me, but if I just happen to get in the frame, then that's okay. But he was a superior little dog. I miss him greatly, and I know that, yes, I know you all understand, because so many of you all have pets, and so many of you have made wonderful comments about how you've enjoyed watching Buddy in my videos. So I just wanted to give you an update on that, but I am getting a puppy, yes. So I think I'm going to end the video. Thank you all. I can just, I don't know, whenever I have something like this to tell you, I know that you will understand where I'm coming from. I appreciate you all so much being a part of my life. I love reading through my comment section. So many of you have been with me for so many years, and you know, we're just friends, and I thank you for that. I thank you for always being in my corner and rooting for me, because I know you do, and I appreciate you all. And I would love to say the blessing over you and your families and your plants before we end the video. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord turn his face toward you and give you his peace. You all make it a great day. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you all next time.